It's been 3 years since our family took a road trip, and that was out to the Van Nationals in Minnesota. But I really made a road trip out of it with some different stop-offs, and honestly, those are some of my favorite videos to watch over and over again. The twins have been asking when we could do it again, and with skipping the Van Nationals this summer, we had a little bit of time on our schedule. The only mechanical issue Wine and Roses has ever had is every once in a while the right front caliper kind of freezes up a little bit, but it usually clears itself out within a mile or two on the highway, but I did not want to have that problem on a long family road trip. So before we could go anywhere, I had to do a little bit of maintenance. Fortunately, this van is still a low mileage cream puff, and everything came apart fairly easily. Even though we own all three brands now, I primarily work on Dodge vans, and one thing I learned during this project is working on a Dodge van is like working on a muscle car, working on a Ford van is like working on a truck. It obviously made sense to change the pads when I changed the caliper, but there was still a lot of life left in these things, especially on the driver's side. I was happy to see that the new caliper had the same TRW castings as the original equipment. Now, I realize that may be TRW of China, but it still made me feel better about the parts that I bought. That's still a pretty healthy brake pad. I like using C-clamps to compress the pistons in the caliper. My dad is a very firm believer in pry bars. And I'm pretty sure that conversation comes up every time we do brakes. I usually take this thing to the drive-thru for the oil changes, but since I already had it up in the air and went through all of the trauma and stress of these twin I-beam Ford front ends, it made sense to do it in the driveway. And as you can see, it was definitely due. That oil's pretty black. Surgeon gets really mad when I use whatever oil filter was on sale. So with fresh oil and fresh brakes, it was time to put this thing back together and start focusing on some of the other things I wanted to do before we leave for our trip. You never realize how much extra work 8-lug wheels are until you gotta take them off and put them back on. With less than 35,000 miles on this thing, we should be good to go. It won't stop me from stressing about everything on the drive, but it certainly helps.
Tostitos, crackers, a couple granola bars, some Propels, some Diet Coke, 2 Gatorades, some of this. I've got more drinks inside.
We debated on whether or not we were taking Wine and Roses or the Express van on the trip, but I realized the deciding factor was windows. For the kids in the back, riding along in a cargo van with no windows is not a fun road trip. They don't want to hear us talk about all the cool stuff we're seeing, and they don't see anything. The wood covers need to be redone anyways, but it definitely was going to make a huge difference for them to have this panoramic view as we were driving. It's all just part of converting this thing from show van mode to road trip mode. And in the same way, Jeanette emptied out all of the stuff that we take to vanning that we don't need on a road trip, so we've got plenty of room to store whatever it is we're taking. One thing you can say about my family, they love packing stuff to take with them.
Who wants to see the triptych?
where we're staying Thursday night.
Now let's just take a look at day one, shall we? Honey, come on in. We're going to do day one.
So it's a campsite and it's got electrical hookup and stuff, so we can plug the van in, we can set your tent up, and like I said, they've got stuff to do there. There's canoeing, they've got food there, there's a swimming pool, so that should be pretty sweet. And that's like the halfway point. So we'll drive there, spend the night, and then it'll be just the same drive down to the Airbnb.
Rusty, please do not eat the truckster.
Which is there. And this is like a full house that we have.
So this is the view from the house?
Yeah. This is going backwards. I don't know why. But
My shoes.
that's where I want to
Yeah,
stay.
that is
That one's
sweet.
my room.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that can be mom's room.
And mine. She's sharing with me.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how big the bed is, though.
It's fine.
Okay.
How many rooms are
It's
there?
probably bigger than the one in the van.
True.
How many rooms are there?
Right there in the backyard.
Is there like a beach right near it, or is it
Yeah,
just
Yeah,
that?
that's
that
the
is the
ocean.
beach.
That's the ocean.
And then this is so then we were at the Airbnb for 2 nights, and then this is where we stayed the last night. This is another campground, so we'll sleep in the van, but it's right on the beach.
Russ, do you mind? I'm trying to work this out here on the old computer. Please, Russ. Oh, great.
Dungeon. The mission to provide to the monster which are from
Look out, Dad. Here I come.
All right, that's enough, Russ. Okay.
Jeanette's Pier. How can we not go there? It looks like they have an aquarium. So this was like in I got like a book of RV trips, and it listed this as like the standout beach in the Outer Banks. And I feel like since the Outer Banks is all beaches, this must be a pretty darn good beach. So we're gonna check this one out. Jeanette's Pier is like halfway between the Airbnb and this beach. So what do you know about Kitty Hawk so far?
It's where I'm pretty sure it's where the Wright brothers. Here.
It's where they did the first flight and they did all their practicing for it. And then where they went back to when it was finally the news.
Oh gosh. We're back right where we were.
I mean, it's a lighthouse. I feel like it should be easy to see. All right, it's to the left. We know that.
We saw the lighthouse before.
We saw the woods. There it is.
No,
There
I
it
can't.
is.
I can't.
There it is.
But we have to get closer. Zoom out, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Zoom out. Give it to me. I know how to zoom out. You lost all of our progress. Okay, so. Yeah.
Here we are.
Oh, we're close.
We're still in the parking lot.
Yeah,
Hey,
but the
we're getting
lighthouse
closer.
We're here. Almost.
Is the lighthouse in the parking lot? Kind of looks like it. from this angle.
The parking lot is the lighthouse. They're one of the same. You hear?